630 WMAL.
824 on WMAL. Bill in Reston, you're on with Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, and Ken Cuccinelli, the Virginia Attorney General.
Ken, first of all, absolutely love you, and skip Senate and go right for governor and president.
Wow. I'll let Mrs. Cuccinelli in on that one.
Yeah, we'll get her on the phone after the program's over, Bill.
Okay, well, my question is, a couple of years ago, Tim Kaine handed the Dulles Toll Road over to the Airport Authority.
Yep.
And since then, they've doubled the tolls. They're talking about going to $20 a day.
Yep.
And now we have Airport Authority police handing out tickets left and right on the toll road.
Yep.
Is there anything that can be done to get our road back?
You know, Secretary Connaughton, Virginia Secretary of Transportation, especially when they had that outrageous vote to do the tunnel at Dulles Airport at a tune of $330 million more dollars, they're already double and a half over their original cost, has been pounding us for help there. And I got to tell you, when Kaine gave that puppy away, he gave it totally away. I mean, he left no strings, no serious strings for pullback. And he's going to hear a lot about that during the 2012 Senate race, because he really, really sold us out on that. We got nothing of value for that giveaway. And, you know, he had the legal authority to do it. The governor has a lot of authority under our public-private.
What exactly? Did he sell it to the airport's authority?
No, he got promises of, this is what we'll do with it. It'll be used to fund the Commonwealth's portion of Dulles Rail. That was what that was about. It was a financing of Dulles Rail, but they got nothing in the way of road improvements, nothing significant that matters, nothing that matches the $10 estimates that they're headed for on those tolls that were, 50, 75 cents 2 years ago.
Not even a player to be named later or a prospect for
no.
Nothing like that.
Nope.
Now, the Morning Majority with Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, and Brian Neiman on 630 WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL. Good Thursday morning to you. Ken Cuccinelli, kind enough to join us in studio for 2 full hours this morning. He, of course, is the Attorney General of Virginia. Taking your phone calls, 1-888-630-9625, and you can text feedback to 68683. Got a text from the 202, says, ask Ken if he can stop the union-only project labor agreement for Dulles Rail extension. Why should Virginia taxpayers and tolls pay for union dues? What's going on?
Yeah, this is a fight that we saw with the Woodrow Wilson Bridge with Governor Gilmore back then, and PLAs, as they're referred to, these union-only contracts, aren't legal under Virginia law, and we know they're dabbling with it, at least talking about it in the Dulles Rail project, so we're keeping our eye on that. I'm sort of hair-trigger loaded to deal with that if that problem pops its head up. But
so it's only a proposal right now. It's not actually happening.
For Phase 2, why people have heard about it is because of the vote by the MWA board on Phase 2 to do a PLA, and that means union-only contracts, and that violates our right-to-work laws if they were to proceed down that road. But I would hope that Phase 2, that'll all be mooted, irrelevant, because I hope they don't do Phase 2. I mean, Phase 1 is already 2.5 times its original cost, and Loudoun is waking up. Loudoun County is waking up to what Fairfax never did, and that is the economic boondoggle versus the transportation benefits that you get. Cost benefit just is not there, and they have a study for it in Loudoun now, and you're going to see it be a central feature of Loudoun Board of Supervisor campaigns this year, and I hope those folks elect an entire board who's committed to pulling out of Phase 2 to kill it, because it is bad policy for Virginia. It's horrible transportation.
Phase 2 takes Metro to Dulles. That's what you're talking about?
From Wiehle Avenue, just past Tyson's, through Dulles by 2 stations, and it's just not worth it to Loudoun County. It's a ripoff, and they're already seeing the great deal that happens with the toll road that so many of them use in Fairfax. They're paying enormous toll hikes over the next decade.
May I ask you, as Attorney General, it's often your job to offer legal opinions. Do they carry in effect the weight of law when you offer?
They do for state agencies.
Okay.
But it's not a court ruling, and courts have ruled for other AGs in in a different direction than attorneys general opined. Right. We have never had that happen. Our first goal when we draft an opinion is to get the law right. Doesn't matter what Ken Cuccinelli wants or thinks.
Whatever the law says. Now the Commonwealth's Constitution, you have determined through legal opinion, cannot spend state monies on charities.
On charities, that's right.
So now that's been sort of controversial in some quarters.
It's been controversial with people who want to spend other people's money on charities. Now they can give their own money, which was the whole reason that provision is in the Constitution. This is over 100 years old in Virginia's Constitution. The Virginia Supreme Court has ruled on it twice, and once on a Widows and Orphans for Firefighters Fund, that was not a legal expenditure of money. I mean, how clear-cut do you want to get?
But over the years, the state legislature, of which you were a former member, did make decisions to send state money to certain charities.
They were doing that, that's right.
And in fact, they were sending money to places like Wolf Trap. I understand $3.5 million
over a number of years.
And now that this legal opinion, which people sort of did it because nobody had issued a legal opinion, but now the legal opinion is out there, that's something they can't ignore. And a lot of places like Wolf Trap are worried. How are we going to continue to operate?
Well, ideally, the way they're going to continue to operate is make it up on the private side. It's a tough time economically to try and do that, but fundamentally, our question is: is the government itself going to obey the law? Going to obey the Constitution in Virginia? That's question one. If you're at Wolf Trap and you're on the board, or if you're at any of the other charities that have managed to get legislators to basically get them earmarks, that's what these are, then you have a funding challenge that you got to make up. Doesn't make you very popular sometimes. No, but I didn't sign up for popularity, but like I said earlier, our first job is to get the law right. I don't swear an oath to charities. I give to my own charities, but I swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States and to Virginia, and we've done, I think very clearly, everything in our office to protect those documents, the legal rule of law they represent, from government. And let's remember, that's what constitutions first and foremost are for. They order the government and they contain the power of the government, state and federal.
Mike in Falls Church, line 8. You're on WMAL. Good morning, Mike.
Yes, good morning. I've been waiting on the phone for about an hour now and listening to everybody. I heard the one gentleman say something about gloom and doom. Mm-hmm. I feel, and I'm sure that you all do in the back of your mind, that everybody's been dancing around the biggest subject on the whole planet of all humans' civilization. Gloom and doom is here. You people keep talking and dancing around the subject. That America is the backbone of the whole world, and this decent civilization that we've had going here for a couple hundred years. What do you all feel about when is the time, do you think, that a civilization, all the people, the citizens, the uncitizens of this planet, are going to rise up and take the governments of this planet into hand, if need be, with arms? When do you think it's going to happen?
Well, in this country, I think we're a long way from the arms peace, thankfully. But I will say that if your question is basically when's the backbone going to show up, when are people going to get serious, that was part of our earlier discussion. Look at Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan was putting forward a specific plan to deal with one of the third rails of politics, Medicare, before Election Day. You want guts? Do it before Election Day. And he's got guts, he's got brains, and he's put forth a workable proposal. The President of the United States isn't doing anything except kicking the can down the road in that area. And debt, we talked about the debt limit. I mean, it's duck and weave. So some people out there, Paul Ryan leading the pack, are getting that backbone, are demonstrating it, and not necessarily with the polls showing that it's a popular thing to do. But you know what? That's called leadership. That's called leadership.
Well, when you talk about organizations as we were having their public funding threatened, it turns out that sometimes actually their donations go up, as has happened with Planned Parenthood, because of this huge national conversation we're having about whether to fund it by the government. Indiana, Mitch Daniels' state, the legislature there decided, okay, we're not going to allow funds to go to this. The federal government offers a legal opinion of sorts to say, that's not going to happen. from your point of view, what's their standing to tell Indiana, no, you can't ban this funding?
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? I mean, they go into Arizona to sue them over their laws. Don't wait for it to be implemented. They go into Indiana when they decide to deny Planned Parenthood funding. What decisions will they let us make without their parentage? And I haven't found one yet that they aren't willing to poke their darn nose into. The Planned Parenthood one, Greg Zeller is the Attorney General out there. He's prepared to defend Indiana's position against the federal government, and they're relying on regulations that say, well, any qualified health care provider can get it. Well, Live Action, Lila Rose's group, has been really doing a great job compiling information that demonstrates that these ads, especially in the Washington area that you hear, not necessarily in WMAL, but you hear them in this area talking about all this health care they provide. Well, it turns out they don't really. 97% of what they do is abortion. And people obviously have strong and different feelings on the question of abortion. This isn't a variety of healthcare options. It's one option. It's end pregnancy by abortion. And Indiana's chosen another course. It seems to me they have every right to do that. It's their doggone money, and they have the right to make that choice. Now, they're splitting some of their Medicaid, Medicare stuff, well, Medicaid, with the feds. So that's what the hook the feds are trying to use. But you're going to see a fight over this one, and you're going to see other states, like my own, get in there to try and help.